Hello everyone, today we want to talk about some basic concepts of decimals. Here is a decimal, 34.7. 3 is the tens, 4 is the ones, 7 is the tenths. And now behind the decimal point, we have one decimal place. Sometimes the question would ask us to round off to a specific digit, so we need to be careful about this. For example, round off 3.5921 to 2 decimal places. This means keeping the 2 digits behind the decimal point, which is these two numbers. 2, the number behind 9, is too small, so we can directly cross it out. So the final answer is 3.59. Some questions would ask you another thing, like rounding off 3.5921 to the nearest integer. This means not keeping any decimal points at all. We only keep those after the unit digit. We can round up the number 5 after the decimal point. So the final answer is 4. When we are comparing decimals, sometimes we would see this type of decimal. Some of you may have learned this in primary. Some of you may have not seen it. That's okay. Having a dot on top of this digit means this digit keeps on repeating itself. 3.7 with a dot on top of the 7 is actually a recurrent decimal. 3.77777. We keep repeating this part. So when comparing these decimals, surely 5.001 is larger than 3.7. So when they are in descending order, we add a more than symbol. But for these two other decimals, because we keep repeating the 7, so the decimal on the right is bigger than the one on the left by a little bit. So if we arrange in descending order, the recurrent decimal 3.7 is larger than 3.7. When we were kids, we would learn the addition and subtraction of decimals. When doing addition and subtraction, do not put these two numbers in this way. This is wrong. We need to align them by the decimal, like this. And when doing addition or subtraction, we could always add a 0 at the original spot to align them. Now we do subtraction. We start from the end. 0 minus 2 is not enough, so we need to carry 1. Carrying 1 from 5, this becomes 4. 10 minus 2 equals 8. The 4 we just carried from minus 3 equals 1. 6 minus 4 is 2, so the final answer is 2.18. For addition and subtraction, we must have the decimal point aligned. But when doing multiplication, we do not need to align the decimal point. All that we need to do is align all the numbers to the right. Then we can do our multiplication. 1 times 5 is 5, 4 times 5 is 20. The last thing that we need to do is double check how many decimal points are there. 4.1 has 1 decimal place. 0.05 has 2 decimal places. So in total, the final answer has 3 decimal places. If you think aligning is very difficult, we could do it just like this. 4.1 times 0.05. We can first ignore the decimal points and just calculate 41 times 5. The final answer is 205. And then after that, we add the decimal places. We add 3 decimal places, then we can still get the same answer. How do we do division of decimal? If we use fractions to show you, it will be much easier to understand. For example, 1.5 divided by 0.05. We can write it in this way. For divisions of decimals, we could do something called expansion. We times 100 to the top and the bottom. This skill we have taught you before in a previous video. Expansion does not change the value as long as we times the same amount at the top and the bottom. Why multiply by 100 and not any other number? The aim is to get rid of all decimal points in the number. This way it is much easier to do our division. The final answer is 30. That's the end of today's video. If there's anything you don't understand, please ask your teachers. Bye!